How do you restore a 105-room French chateau? Where do you start? When we first arrived almost 6 years ago, the answer was obvious. You start with the leaky roof that would soon destroy Château de Purnon if we didn't act fast. And with the chateau covered in scaffolding, you restore all the exterior while you can, from the chimney stacks and the stone facades to the windows, shutters and doors. But with the roof now watertight, how do we create a home from a building constructed at the end of the 18th century? And how do we do it in a way that places respect for heritage at the heart of the project? It all comes down to planning. Electricity, hot and cold water, wastewater evacuation, heating, fibre, even fire protection and security. Everything has to be seamlessly integrated into rooms in a building where the interiors have the same level of heritage protection as the exterior, the highest level of heritage protection in France. It all comes down to planning. Under the leadership of our extraordinary heritage architect, Monsieur Frédéric Didier, the chateau has been divided into phases and zones. The phases enable the work to be divided into a series of projects that can be managed sequentially. The zones divide the work into projects that must be completed by heritage-approved artisans and those that we can tackle ourselves. Soon the work will start on Phase 1, our principal rooms, beautifully appointed reception rooms that were the public face of the chateau. In a zone of high heritage importance, these rooms will be painstakingly restored by highly skilled artisans. Other rooms can be restored by Tim and myself under the close supervision of our heritage architect and with assistance as required. This week we share the progress on a small room, but a strategically important one. It sits at a crossroads in the chateau on the first floor. Infrastructure will pass through vertically and horizontally, but it must ultimately be hidden. It's a room that we can work on ourselves, and it all comes down to planning. We are up here on the first floor of the chateau in the future tisanerie. This is a tea room, and if you have not been following the progress of this room or are not familiar with it, I'll pop a link in the description below to previous videos so you can catch up on this room. But in order to progress, all this lead paint on the ceiling and on the cornices must go. And so to remove lead paint, we use a product by Dumont called Smart Strip. This product is incredible. It can move up to 20 layers of lead paint safely. It doesn't create any dust, so there's no particles in the air, so there's no risk to our health at all. And so we have a 2-day window to do this, so it's a perfect time for us to get started. The first day we need, which is today, is to put the paste up and the paper up, and then it sits for 24 hours, and then we come back and remove it, and we will be left with the plaster surface with no lead paint. We'll do a pH treatment, and then we can start actually preparing the surfaces on the ceiling and the cornices. And I'm super excited to get this room started, so let's get to work. So this is the only remaining section of the original wallpaper. So we're just going to remove it so that we can safely protect it and keep a record of what was originally in this room. Well, things are looking quite different in here to yesterday morning when I came to you. Notably, the window has gone. Our artisans came this morning and have taken the window off to be restored and put in this temporary window. So that is great news. Tim and I got all the lead paint remover down, all the smart strip on the ceiling and the cornices yesterday. And now we have a huge job ahead of us to take it all down. Let's go. Oh, I love it. So this is the 18th century buffet that just arrived this morning. So we were eager to try it in the room and just test that it worked in the space. And I think it's really beautiful. It's super heavy, so it was a lot to get in. But I think, you know, this top is really lovely with its shelves. The style's beautiful. It fits really well in the space.
It has this beautiful decorative element here.
Yeah.
Which I think is really lovely. It's
a vase.
It's a vase, yeah, with a flower emerging from it.
Yeah. We need to change these handles, which are the knobs, which are a bit
they're
modern.
Not very nice.
I think we just really wanted to see if it worked in the space.
From a volume perspective, yeah. And I think it absolutely does. Okay, very good. So I've got to finish this door, which we've been stripping the lead paint off, the two doors that go here on these little cupboards.
All right, so we should take this back out now.
Great.
We are ready for our next task up here in the tisanry, and that is to neutralise the surface on the cornices and the ceilings. So when we use the smart strip to remove the lead paint from the ceiling and the cornices, it will have made the surface, I imagine, quite alkaline, and we need to bring the surface back to be pH neutral, so somewhere around pH 7. The reason that we do this is it then creates the perfect condition for paint to sit properly on the surface. If we don't bring it back to a pH neutral or as close as possible to pH neutral, the paint can blister and peel and won't adhere to the surface very well. So it's a very important step. Smart Strip actually include a citric acid in their Smart Strip packages. So it's just a matter of dissolving the citric acid into some water and spraying it on the surface to treat it. We will let it dry and test the surface again and see if we have got closer to pH neutral. And if not, we will need to do a second treatment. So let's go. So I've just done the pH test on the ceiling and the cornices, and the pH level is really quite high. I thought it was kind of up around 11, but actually I think it's more like 9, which actually isn't so bad. So we've got to come down to under 8. So I have finished neutralizing the ceiling and the cornices, and I've given it some time to dry and come back and done a test, and the results are excellent. You can see, remember originally when we tested we were up around the sort of 9 and above. We needed it 8 and under. We're probably around about 6, except where my fingerprints have been. So that's great news. So next steps are I'm going to give it a sand, and then there's a lot of repairing to be done. The ceiling's actually surprisingly in a better condition than I thought, but it's all relative. It's not perfect at all. The cornices, however, are going to be really challenging. So we've got a big job ahead of us here. Well, it has been a big week working on the ceiling and the cornices of the tisanry, and it's great to have some progress happening there, but we have a lot of repair work to do on the ceiling and the cornices. As you saw in the video, there was a section of the cornice that had actually collapsed and had detached, and so we need to find a solution to repair that. There's also a lot of repairs along the way, and I think the camera has actually been quite kind to the condition of the cornices and the ceiling, because it doesn't show in detail just how much work is going to be required to repair it, but that's fine. We're always up for a big challenge. And you may have noticed also we put down an undercoat, and that was purely to even the colour off so that we could really get a good look at how much repair work does need to be done. So we have a big week ahead of us working on that again. So you may notice also that Truth is sporting some evidence of some surgery that she had during the week. There's no need to panic. She is doing just fine.
She's doing fine, and we love her to the moon and back. But it is a very important room, and you could see the channel that had been created in the wall on the side of the room. Even though it's a small room, it's carrying infrastructure for water evacuation between the second floor and down out of the chateau. It's got some of the infrastructure for the heating system running through it to other rooms that are around it. It's got fibre going through it. It's got all of the electrical work going through it. This week's been all about planning, the work divided into zones so that we can classify all of the spaces in the chateau by their heritage value, the work divided into phases by our architect so that it can be managed and rolled out over the years ahead. And we can't wait to share progress not just on this room, but on all the restoration works being carried out on the interior of the chateau. Now, as we mentioned in an earlier video, we're going to be in Australia in early March. We've got events in Melbourne, Sydney and Perth. Please have a look in the link in the description below and we'll share all the details for those events. And so for our Australian friends, we'd love to see you at one of those events.
And remember, if you would like to follow the restoration of Château de Purnon more closely, remember we post a free weekly video every Sunday here that follows every step of the journey of restoring this incredible domain. If that's not enough for you and you would like to dive deeper into the restoration process with us, then please do join us over on Patreon or sign up as a YouTube member plus Patreon access and you will get a weekly bonus video. Otherwise, we post frequent updates on all our social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or just hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and we will keep you updated here. We'll see you next week.